Get ready for the Boss of the Sauce Show, AAC College Football 2019 Conference Preview right now. Right back at you with another AAC team breakdown right here. We're going for the South Florida Bulls this time. And yes, this team is coming off a 7-6 year right here. They have Coach Charlie Strong in his third year over at this program, and they return 9 on offense, 6 on defense. They got the quarterback, the running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, and a left guard, and a right tackle, all coming back on offense. This should really help them out a lot, along with the offensive coordinator, Karen Bell. But I don't trust the South Florida Bulls as far as I can throw them. But they are a great team. 7-6 was a low mark. I expect them to do a little bit better this year with all the returning. And over on defense, they're returning a defensive end, a defensive tackle, another defensive end, a linebacker, a cornerback, and the strong safety. So they're kind of stacked in returners right here. Third-year coach. Third year is a very, very, very special year for head coaches in college football. That's when your recruits meet your system and the coaches are acclimated to do a good thing. Now, with the background on Charlie Strong in this one, I expect him to do a great job with these and maybe pull off an upset against UCF this year. What you think about that, BigRagoo?
Yeah, well, Charlie Strong has got a lot of history here in the state of Florida. He's probably one of the top recruiters in the state. Very likable individual. He's from the Tampa Bay area, which that's where the university is. He recruits really well down there. And the most shocking thing in looking at their stats from last year to this year, or prior year, is they had a 18-point differential from where they had a plus 14 point differential to a minus 3.5. So that's like an 18-point swing. So it's like the 5th worst in the country, as far as point differential goes. So they slid down the scale, and a lot of it's attributed to sloppy play and discipline. And that really shocks me coming from a Charlie Strong team. Now, he did go out and get Kerwin Bell and hired him, as the offensive coordinator. And Kerwin Bell's got he was a Division II national champion. He's a former Florida Gator. He's from this area. I know him well. And he's probably going to spark that offense with all those returning starters, 9 of them, like you said. I see a lot of room for improvement there. I think in the conference, they were giving up. They were scoring right at 23 points a game, which is 10th in the conference. And defensively, they definitely had their struggles. So I think that'll be a good tandem to coach those youngsters up. There's a lot of talent there. They just got to put the discipline on the field and get the job done.
I totally agree with you, BigRagoo, and also want to add that they're doing about 436 yards on offense as well. That's not a lot of room to go too much higher. What are we expecting? 500 yards a game? But if they are going to be that team with those returners, then that's what they're going to have to do. So I do expect at least what they done last year. So definitely a 7-6 season, but maybe they'll move their win total up to about 8 or 9. That'll be a good spot for them. But they definitely on shaky grounds with me. I don't really trust them overall. But third year coaching is very significant, and Charlie Strong is a very smart coach. And you got to keep your eye on these guys right here. This team, just like a lot of other teams in the AAC, because this conference is on the rise, is definitely back on the watch list. Any other remarks on this team?
Yeah, just mainly discipline. If they can just clean things up. I mean, you said they had over 440 yards a game. That's a lot of yards. I mean, college ranks 600 yards is a ton of yardage, but 4 and change is nothing to sneeze at. And to me, it's just like they're not taking care of the football. They're making bad plays, penalties, whatnot. So if they tighten it up and get that offensive production where it needs to be, they should equate some more points on the board than what they have scored last year.
Now let's take a look at the schedule that they draw. Now they open up against Wisconsin, which is a very tricky game to me. They have Wisconsin ranked very, very low this year, and I just don't trust that. Like Wisconsin they don't do nothing spectacular. They pride themselves, just like all the big teams, in doing what they do very well. Athletes or not, it's the system and the program, not the players. So they could catch an L opening up against a school like Wisconsin, but then they go see Georgia Tech, who's also scary, going from the option over to a spread offense with the new coach. But then they have a bunch of little easy games. Connecticut, SMU. They do have to play Navy, and towards the end of the schedule, they see Temple, Cincinnati, Memphis, and then they're at UCF for the big game, the rival. Doesn't look too promising. Pretty rough schedule this year. 7-6, maybe 8 wins. I give them 8 wins tops.
Yeah, they're going to get beat up down the stretch here. They got to play Temple, Cincinnati, Memphis, and at UCF. Those are 4 L's just looking at the sheet. If they base it off the schedule that they played last year and the style of football they played last year. Now, if they get a little momentum going, I mean, anything can happen, because like I say, they do have talented players. Just got to clean things up a little bit. And Wisconsin, who knows what happens there? Georgia Tech, that could be a tough game too. First time they're not. Now, Georgia Tech, you did say they have a new coach, right? So they're not running Paul Johnson's retired, so they're running a spread offense versus the old military style offense. So who knows how they can defend that? But yeah, definitely, I could easily be 6-6, or they could be, a 9-3 team. Who the heck knows?
So you heard it here first on the Boss and the Sauce Show. I'm gonna send y'all out with a little song from where we was just capping right here. When I say South Florida Bulls, I think 4 L's, 4 L's, 4 L's, 4 L's. Yo, stay tuned as we go.
Yeah, yeah.